Hi, I am Carl Monson Capson. I live in Sweden. Do you know where Sweden is? It's clear across the ocean. Right here. That's where I live, right there. We lived a long, kind of like Europe, we lived a long ways away. That was where I was born, in Sweden. All right, so who am I exactly? Well, let's find out. We have Grandma and Grandpa Manwaring, Great Grandma and Grandpa Manwaring, Great Great Grandma and Grandpa Capson, Great 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 Grandma and Grandpa Capson. That's me. There I am, right there. Now, let me show you something just real quick about Swedish names, because we're from Sweden, so Swedish names. So, my name is Carl, and my other name is Monson, which means that my dad's name is Måns. See? Måns. So I am Måns' son, Monson. That's how our names work. My mother, her name is Meta. Her last name is Persdotter. What's her father's name? Let's look. Per Olsen is her father, so she is Per's daughter. Do you see that? And my dad, so his name is Måns Jansson. See that right, it says? So what's his father's name? Jans. We would say John in America. Jans. So they change their names. Do you see that? That's how it works. We can look down here. He is Bent Nilsson. So his father's name is Nils. He is the son of Nils. That's how Swedish names work. It makes it kind of hard to do family history, but that's what keeps happening. Now you'll notice I have a last name of Capson. I'm also Monson, because that's my dad's name, Måns, but it's also Capson, and his name is Capson. Do you know where that name came from? No, you don't, because we didn't write it down. We got that name, and nobody knows where it came from. If you want your posterity to know something, you gotta write it down. So we kept the Capson name instead of changing our name. So my name is Capson, and then all my kids, their name is Capson. See that? There's the Capson name right there. So we stopped changing our name. We kept the Capson name. But just so you know, nobody knows where it came from. Anyway, kind of a fun thing about names. I lived in Sweden with my wife Ingrid, and I was a gardener. That was my job. I did gardens. And we met some missionaries from the Mormons, the Mormon church, and we got baptized. We decided to join them. We were some of the very first in Sweden, the very first. My dad also got baptized. My mom had died, and my dad also got baptized. Somebody wrote a description about Måns, my dad, and they said he has hair white like the driven snow. He looks like the Ancient of Days. Who's the Ancient of Days? Do you know who that is? That's somebody's name. Who is that? I think they were saying he looks like a grand old patriarch. He was very old when he joined the church. So we lived in Sweden in this house. This is my house. It's a long time ago. See that little arrow that's pointing to my house? It's a big white house. That house is still there. That's what it looks like now. See that car in front of it? That's my house. It's still there in Sweden. Kind of neat, huh? My dad, he was a big farmer. He was a very successful farmer. He ran a big estate. That's a big fancy farm right there. And on that farm, see that little house in the background? That's the same house. On that farm, was a pond. There was some water, and so we baptized some people in that water. Got ready to baptize. You go in the water. Okay, are you ready to get baptized? Yes, I am. And we baptized them right in that pond, right there. Worked out pretty well. Kind of handy to have a baptismal font. Anyway, we held, this is my barn. It's not there. It got burned down. But this is where it was in Sweden. Is that got farmland out there in the field? So we had the first conference. What conference? Not general conference. That's not what it means. That's general conference. We just had the first conference, which is just a new ward in a new country kind of a thing. We called it a conference, not general conference, in my barn, the very first one in Sweden, the very first church meeting in my barn. And so we came to my barn, but guess what? Oops. Guess what? The government of Sweden doesn't like Mormons. No, sir. And so we couldn't come and have a church meeting because the police would come, the soldiers from the government, and say, you can't be having a church meeting. No, 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 no. So this is what we did. I do it in secret, very secret. We did it in the nighttime. See the stars up there? It's night. It's nighttime now. Shh, okay, shh, everybody. We're gonna do this in the dark, in my barn. Get all the animals out. And we're gonna have a church meeting in the dark. And we're gonna learn about the gospel. We gotta be very quiet. Shh, shh. So the government doesn't find us. And that's what we did. It worked out pretty well. We just had it in the dark. So, that was pretty good. Well, since the church, Sweden didn't like having the Mormons here, so we left. Ingrid and I, we left Sweden, and we left my father. He was pretty old. He actually died a year after he was baptized. And we decided to go to America and go to Utah and be with the saints. So Ingrid and I left Sweden and we sailed across the ocean and we came to America. Now, I also, just so you know, practice polygamy. What's polygamy? Do you remember what that is? It's having more than one wife at one time, okay? So, we came to America, and I met Caroline, Johanna Caroline Malmgren, and we got married. So I had 2 wives, and Johanna and I had 11 children. Oh my goodness, look at all those kids. We had Joseph, Emma, James, but James died when he was just a baby. Oscar, Hannah, Clara, Caroline, Niels, Sven, George, and Jetta. That's her name. We had 11 kids. And I worked as a gardener for Brigham Young. He was my boss. I was his gardener. He was a nice boss. I liked working for him. Later on, we moved and got a farm. That's our house. That's our farm in South Cottonwood, Utah. Kind of a nice little house, huh? Well, let me tell you one other thing. We had a son born on the 4th of July. What's the 4th of July? That's the fireworks. Remember fireworks on the 4th of July? Guess what? Sweden doesn't have a 4th of July. It doesn't mean anything. Well, we're in a new country in America, and that's their Independence Day, and they have fireworks and parties. And what are you going to name a son who's born on a holiday on the 4th of July? We got to get a good name. So, what name did we choose? George Washington Capson is his name. We named him after your president, George Washington. I think he's a pretty good guy. He did a good job with America. So that is our son's name. This little guy right here, George Washington Capson, because he was born on the 4th of July. Remember that name. You'll be hearing it again. All right. It was nice meeting you.